People you haven't seen Oh, you need to be
Thanks, huh? Yeah. I don't understand.
About chocolate ones too.
So you work on that.
I don't understand what's going on here. Music, bro, you got it? Yes, something's not right. Jeez. Someone messed with it.
Suddenly our other names have Do you already have
So YouTube's not working great.
You want mine? Yeah, that's all, Brian.
Hey, hey.
She's gonna be there right now.
Jesse Payne, where are you?
She's not here. There's cheapest on the computer.
Let me try that.
Here, come on. She's right here. You want to grab her?
No, I guess it's fine. Oh, Jesus, what the...
Where is this thing?
Brian, can you take money?
No, I can't. I wish I could. Oh, man, people keep messing with my stuff.
Want me to call time? 5 minutes!
Sure.
Five minutes!
Brian, we don't have name tags anymore. I'm not sure where they are.
I know on one of them I was like, it gives a character. Yeah.
Oh, well, our participant one. I don't know where my coach's one is.
Rise leaders.
Do you want me to be spaced for a while, Brian?
Sure, please. So I'm trying to get this going here.
I'm just gathering your energy, if that's okay.
Do you want something else?
Gather my energy.
Soaking it up.
Gather my energy and take a look at greatness right there.
Gosh, yes, yes, yes.
What do you think?
Oh my gosh, I really love it.
That's what I'm doing.
Beast.
That's just the Awaken Within collection. Just click on one. So that collection will have the big letter in it, and I mean, not every one is going to look like that, but
Cool. Check out this.
what's up, brother? Good to see you, man. Nice looking shirt. That's what I'm doing.
Greatness within. Good. Right, this is awesome.
Thanks.
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing.
BPG.
Okay, that's when Brian, that's when I have the most fun, is when I'm doing the advanced stuff,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Of course.
Oh, no, I was just going to say thank you for teaching me how to use my voice too, because I was able to share at the table that night, which inspired a mid-to benefit
Hey,
table.
Vanessa.
So, in part, thanks to you.
What's up? What's up?
I'm glad that, we should do it in a different light.
I know, me too. It is what it is. It was my fault for not planning better too. So,
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's really good. And you think you might have some resources?
Yeah. Potentially.
And I know he does a lot.
Wait, how do I go back? Oh.
Well, it feels familiar with one answer. You can show it.
Hey, Rabbi, I love this.
Thanks, dear. Anyways, I'm just like between my regular massage and yoga, like I'm just like overwhelmed, but I'm like staying up late at night, waking up early, like I'm pumped. I'm matching hats too.
Ooh, love it. Let me know when you're watching this.
Yeah, right. Okay.
She's back down in Jesse, those are small. Thank you. You can bring this right here. Sorry.
Started working out again. Lately.
Whoever's logistics, let's make sure we're calling anybody who is supposed to be here. It's supposed to be everybody who's in the... Brian has the 4-column list, so everybody who's either in the awakening or within...
The email, alright, love it there.
Good,
just...
They don't have to be here, but they're welcome.
Yeah, I did it 2 people. Good.
Okay.
Where is the email? I don't understand.
Okay, since there are no guests that have not been through some workshop or another, then what I'll do is I will have you go get a partner, and if you have not been at Pinnacle of Presentation, then I will have you do your awakening style declaration. If you have been at Pinnacle of Presentation, I will have you do your prelude.
Where is the email?
Okay?
Wait, can we choose?
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, you know what? That's not a good idea. If you've been through Pinnacles, it's actually better to do your prelude. So do that. If you haven't been through Pinnacles, then just do your
I wonder if you can give me the emails of the awakening people.
Okay, stand up, get a partner, and both of you can have a seat.
Somebody stop me! You ain't nothing but a hell
I've ever seen you.
That was pretty adorable, Vanessa. You obviously haven't seen me.
Yeah. That was the best thing you've heard all day. That was the best thing you've heard all day.
For me, it was.
Somebody stop me!
You left us here. No, just like pick up. Okay, so you want to know something on the link, is that why?
Yeah, because the email's not working, so I can't email myself, copy it, and text it out. I have to like, but the email's not really working. Well, you know what? Never mind.
Oh, Okay, Jared's not here. Jared's Justin.
Let's start by sharing one of my favorite quotes. For those of you who are not familiar with the Bible, this is from St. Paul. Have in you the same mind as Jesus, who being in the form of God did not consider it robbery to be equal to God.
Say it again.
Having you the same mind as Jesus, who being in the form of God did not consider it robbery to be equal to God.
Blasphemy.
Now, before I get started with tonight's content, I would like to share, I'd like to take a share or two from anybody who was in Pinnacle of Presentation, because I thought you guys were amazing. Outstanding. Excellent. What did the turtles say? What did they like to say at the end? Teenage Ninja Turtles.
Cowabunga.
What was it?
Cowabunga, dude.
Cowabunga. Cowabunga. Okay, raise your hand, I'll call on you. Share. Anybody from Pinnacle of Presentation?
What about it?
It doesn't matter.
I have a workshop this weekend and I have a potential for 125 women. And it's been powerful to have the breakthrough I had, and I had to do the and I was like, someone saying that it was my chakra that I like burst into tears, that I had to be goofy and do that silly thing. But it really shifted my whole energy to do it in that moment. And so I was on the phone with 58 women today, like, are you coming on Saturday? And I need to get you registered, which I was like, I don't have a thing to send them once they register. I don't even know what their email is, but for my next workshop, I'm going to figure that out. But for this one, at least I'm asking them to register ahead of time instead of just showing up. And so, my results are going to increase as I practice everything I learn.
Thank you.
Good job.
Anybody else? Mark?
Wow. When I signed up for Movement to Mastery, Pinnacle's presentation was the workshop that terrified me the most. Just the sound of it, knowing what we were going to have to be doing, being up in front of the whole class, talking through the presentation, just reminded me and brought back fears of what it was like being a child speaking in church, and all the anxiety. And I just feel so grateful that I got chosen to be the demonstration in front of the room and have that amazing experience of growth to facilitate me being more comfortable in front of people and just letting go and not worrying about how I'm perceived or how my message is, and being able to crank things up and my energy to the next level, to use my voice, which was a big part of my awakening to that breakthrough. So it was, you hear everything happens at the right time, and it was just perfect for me.
There we go, there's another one. Whoever I pick as a demo has a lot to do with what the rest of the group gets out of it. So it's a real honored position to be able to set the space so that everybody has a better experience. Anybody else? Teresa?
I was surprised at the level of safety that I felt with my phone groups.
Yeah.
The last 2 years I've done, if I were going to teach a Mary Kay skincare class, this time I shared a poem that I wrote in like the war zone.
Yeah.
And I was very vulnerable, and I got good feedback and coaching on how to take the pain of what happened and use it to be powerful in creating results in the future. And that was really what I needed.
There you go, Molly. How many of you are noticing the difference in how Elisa is speaking? It's noticeable. Okay. One of my favorite people, Mike, is going to come up and help me do a skit to demonstrate because the point for tonight is that when you do something that's an experience, especially if it's a significant experience, you often get catapulted into another world, another reality. And then sometimes it's not easy to talk to the people that are in your reality. So this skit will kind of emphasize that. Okay? So, he's the dad, I'm the son. Okay, go ahead.
So, someday my son will go taller.
And I'll be as big as my dad.
Hi, son.
You know, Dad, that was a puny little expression of an absolute love for me. Actually, you know, you love me as big as the sky.
Well, yeah, I know. Hey, did you hear about Mel Gibson and All's Affairs?
Dad, you know, you may not know this, but you're actually projecting. You're seeing the sleaze in yourself.
Oh, you're beginning to sound like your mother.
I bet you think that with Mom it takes two to tango, and if she won't understand, then it's not your problem. Actually, Dad, in communication, it only takes one to tango. If you really intend to communicate, she will melt.
I think I feel like melting. I think I'll go watch a game before I get depressed.
Dad, you can generate satisfaction under all circumstances. Okay, now look, try this. Just trust me. When I call your name, yell as loud as you can. I'm here and I'm ready.
Oh my gosh.
I think I'm going to go watch a game.
Little brains, what is a big spirit to do? You know, in your heart of hearts, I know that most of you would do just about anything to get your loved ones into some work like this. You know, I mean, something below the surface, something that could really change their lives. But if you look closely at why people stop, why they won't put it out there to the ones they love the most, even though they can see them bumping their head against the same old walls year after year after year after year after year. It's because ultimately, like all things in life, it's because they don't have the skills. They don't have the skills to communicate or to enroll or to influence, right? So that's a lot of what tonight is about. So, true dialogue is the process of creating safety and rapport through mutual meaning. It is the truest means of establishing true contact with our emotional environment. There was when Gestalt therapy was a huge thing, there was a quote that I love the title is, you don't have to push the river, it flows by itself. By Barry Stevens, a Gestalt therapist.
Video's not working.
When you're in your own being, your heart and soul, you flow with your own process. You look to see where your heart will lead you, and then you go there. Now, there are two kinds of contact. There is playful contact.
I don't know what's going on.
And there is bridging contact. When the goal is to play, to have fun, to share time with friends, then we kick back, we relax. We don't put any conscious effort into how we're being. If we do an old way, oh well, our friends are fairly forgiving, and besides, they have the same shield anyway. That's who defines a friend, people with the same shield. So often, they don't even notice it. If I want to learn how to be when I'm out with friends, I must learn how to follow my own internal river by going where my heart, my interest, my passion wants to take me. If I go to brunch with my friends, I simply look to see what I want to talk about or share. And I talk about that. I saw this movie the other day, or I have this insight, or I'm feeling kind of down, whatever. Now, bridging contact is a big distinction. When you're attempting to build a bridge of mutual meaning and increase their level of true contact, then you go with their river. Not my river, their river. And it always goes someplace. By going with their river, you can steer the river in many different directions. Now, as I said before, every organism receives what it needs from its environment. If an organism is unable to receive its needs from its environment, it becomes dysfunctional and eventually it dies. You must make contact with your environment to be healthy and grow. This is the source of contact. This fulfills your needs. Contact is like air and water. The only difference between the need for air and water and the need for contact is the time it takes for the symptoms to show up. The only difference between the need for air or water and true meaningful contact is the amount of time it takes for the symptom to show up. So if I cut off all your air, how quickly do you notice that? Pretty quickly, right? If I cut off your water, you notice that within a few days, right? But if I cut you off from your meaningful level of contact, it might take you months to notice you are in a real state of deprivation. But it's just as important.
Okay, let me try.
Or two, where they
And
have
then
orphan
refresh you
babies.
too.
People were getting pregnant and then leaving their babies on the doorsteps, right? And so they put together some institutions, and they basically put all these babies in institutions, and they fed them and they clothed them. They had all their physical needs met, but they didn't have money. Within the first year, half the babies are dead. Within the second year, half of those babies are dead. Because contact is a physical need. Now, here's one that you might want to tattoo on your shoulder. And we're not giving points for setup. It is the amount of cycles of true contact each person experiences in daily life that is their level of health.
No, it doesn't.
Okay, then there's something wrong with your camera.
Again?
It is the amount
Could it
of
be the opiate?
cycles of true contact that each person experiences in daily life that is their level of health and functioning.
Could it be something opiate?
The more dysfunctional have fewer and fewer of these cycles of true contact. What their experience is nobody hears me. All of their defenses are ways of trying to have this contact. Some are in the desert fighting for any kind of contact, so their defenses are way up. You know, what does my life matter? What is my purpose? You don't do them any favors when you shrink away by playing small. As we said in the workshop, you can either care about people or you can care about what they think. You can't do both. Don't care so much about what they think of you. Care about them. Care about serving them. and giving them a chance to open up and relate on a deeper level. Remember that their protection and their defenses are not about you. Their defenses are saying, I am scared. Okay? I want you to get a partner, and I want you to teach your partner what I just taught you. Back and forth, back and forth. Don't let one person do all the talk. Go.
Are you playing? Yes? No. Hey, Rita. Hello. Back here. You want to play?
You need to be clear.
Is that what you're saying? Yeah. Okay, beautiful.
You need to be clear, Rita.
Yeah. I mean, okay.
I'm just asking.
Don't worry.
Then no, then say no.
No. Oh, Rita, I think you need to be clear. Get your butt out in the hall and let me clear it. It's just out there. I don't need you. Okay. Yeah, nothing wrong. They are good. Okay. Yes. Yeah, it's fun.
He said, teach each other what I'm doing. What you just said was the helping people have greater psychopathy. People who have psychopathy like
friends of our shoes, that's what I'm doing. Some money to care more about helping them succeed, so that we need to, it's basically like this actually the same they're upset,
I don't know what's going on with this, bro. Is the video working? I mean, at least the audio part of it. The video is not working. I think the audio is, but the actual video is not working. It's kind of stuck.
do you want to,
I think the audio can hear you talking.
do you want to call Ennis?
I just did. He said to unplug the camera and put his bed on and bring it up to you.
Oh yeah, go ahead. Yeah. Is it possible to maybe just by turning it off and turning it on again, it might reboot?
Maybe. Yeah, maybe like completely close out YouTube. But yeah, I can hear you talking.
Actually, you can choke it. I mean, it's nice to let people know.
It's delayed. This is you hear me say, woohoo!
I'm sorry. I'm not such
So woohoo in a second. So you can hear us pretty well back here. Okay, now Gary's showing. The audio is terrible. Oh, you gotta turn it down on here.
Okay, wrap it up.
What was the volume? Turn it down.
I'll take a share or two. Share with me what you're noticing when it's going.
Okay, so now it's working. Yeah, but how's the I'm not seeing it up here. Refresh it.
And bridging and finding the person where they need to find that connection and as well do, but to be where they need to be because it's more important than impacting.
Yeah, it's a distinction. It's like, when I just want to play and have fun, I just follow my river. But when I want to coach or facilitate or build bridging contact, then I follow their river. Thank you. No.
It was really easy for me to correlate the times in my life when I had lots of cycles of meaningful contact with the times that were good in my life.
Yeah.
It was a really easy equation.
Yeah, that's right. And if you look around, because all of you in your field of perception, you have your lowest self and your highest self in your field of perception. You have everything in between. So all you have to do is look around in your field of perception of the people that you now have in the world and ask yourself, the people who are most dysfunctional that I am perceiving, how much meaningful contact do they have on a daily basis? Then look at the people that are most functional, highest self-esteem, you know, how much meaningful contact do they have on a daily basis? I mean, it's exact. Oh, let's acknowledge Mike. Okay.
One thing Joanne and Ryan talked about is that the more meaningful cycles we have with the same people, like with our close friends, the more we start to have that with just random strangers, random encounters, and those are still very meaningful cycles. And still
That's right. Acknowledge. What I've noticed is in my own life, as I get more, you know, as I grow, as I get to higher ground, as I get more enlightened, whatever, it's fun for me to be at a grocery store or whatever and have a meaningful 10 seconds with somebody, because whenever I do, they're like, it's like water in a desert. You know? Whoa, somebody just connected with me. Good, anybody else?
Just adding to that, it's fun when it's from weird things like my car battery dying, so the person will help me jump my car, or bugs in my apartment, I have to go buy bug spray, and I meet this like crazy amazing lady at the store that makes it. Yeah, it's fun.
Acknowledge. Jeremy, are they done yet?
Okay.
Okay. Lisa?
Really, your trauma specialist actually said that we're tribal in nature, and the further we get from that, the more it hurts.
I love this because I'm kind of gathering all the pieces that we learned last weekend as well. So in sharing with Mark, I'm like, I love this mention or perception, because it also gives us the ability to practice our skills of communicating with people with our tones and our body language and whatever, but then adding this to this just makes it so much easier to hopefully communicate and want to connect with people, and easier to be ourselves.
That's right. That's right. Be authentic. Acknowledge. Yeah, passing down. Bonnie.
I just had an experience with this like 2 days ago. My husband is so disconnected, and so he keeps pushing me away because he's so unused to having contact.
Yeah.
At one point he yelled at me to go away, and I didn't, because I knew he needed the contact. So I kind of called him out, and then I just held space and listened. And he just got all emotional and just broke down the wall. But I would normally just been really offended by that. And taken it personally, but I didn't. So, and it was really good.
Good. Way to go. Nikki? Oh, no. Go ahead. Ask the question first.
Is there such a thing as too much meaningful contact?
No.
If you watch your young children, you'll notice that when they're younger, they pretty much want your attention all the time. And then they get older and not as much. They get older and not as much. By the time they're By the time they're teenagers, you know, they're like ships passing in the night. Okay? Because they're getting their cups filled in other places by their friends. Maturity, because Fritz Perls said maturity is the transcendence from environmental support to self-support. So, when a cup is filled, the cup is filled. You can keep pouring water in, but it's filled. So you can't have too much meaningful contact because the person that you're with will basically then either go away or stop you, or the cup is filled. And then when they want more, they'll come back for more. Thank you. Acknowledge.
Just a couple of things. I wanted to agree with Delanne in saying just meeting the coolest people. I'm just synchronicity after synchronicity at the most random of places. And I shared with you earlier, just before this, I randomly met Kevin Mallay's son.
I did too.
Just randomly, and just through following my intuition, where to go, complimenting a necklace, starting a conversation, talking about healing work, asking him where he did that, and I went to this retreat called The Awakening. You know. So anyways, yeah, it's crazy the just amount of being open and just sharing with people what they open up to you. And also just another thing Shelly and I were talking about someone's defenses and protection is not about you, it's about them being scared. So she was just saying when someone gets defensive, they're just saying, I'm scared. So when we see that from the other side, just acknowledging, I realize you might be scared. I just want you to know that you're safe with me. And kind of comforting their wilbur, I think could allow them to continue looking at
I love Deepak Chopra's story about synchronicity, about how one of his gurus said, I want you to go and share about your intentions with the president of India or someplace, I can't remember where. And he's like, how am I supposed to do that? He goes, don't worry, just set your intention and it will happen. And you know, he was new at this, so he didn't really understand much about intention. But he followed his guru's instruction, he set his intention, right? Then he's on a plane, and he's sitting next to the guy they start talking, and he starts saying, yeah, I'm really terrified because I've got this meeting with the president of India. He goes, I'm really terrified. Would you mind coming with me? Because I really like what you're saying. Right? You have to understand that's happening 24/7. The reason why my favorite process at phase 2 is called Dream Makers, about learning the art and science of putting your daily activity into a context of your highest purpose. The reason why that's my favorite process is because I understand that as you get better and better and better at that, synchronicity happens more and more and more in ways that you and your biggest self want to go. Because you align with universal forces, now universal forces put whatever you need in front of you. That's why it's the single greatest key to manifest your vision. Huh? Higher purpose. And I don't, in that module, I don't teach you the higher purpose, I teach you the highest purpose. Okay. Now, you're going to meet with somebody, here's the cycles of true contact. The more of these you have on a daily basis, the more functional you are. It starts off with greetings. Hey, how you doing? Good to see you. Oh, you look great. You know, that kind of stuff. Chit-chat, right? So, how you been doing lately? Hanging in there? How's the job? How's the family? You been fishing lately? You know, chit-chat. Enthusiasm for today's event. I'm so glad you asked me to lunch. I haven't seen you in a while. We've got a lot of catching up to do. I'm so glad you asked me to go shopping with you, even though I'm low on money. I love the window shopping. You know what I mean? You're showing enthusiasm for the fact that you're together. Now, The first three skills look really simple. But I want you to understand, the most powerful part of you is not your conscious mind. It's your subconscious mind. Those first three steps, even though they're simple, are actually designed for the subconscious level, just like in the workshop we just did. It's designed to create safety on a subconscious level. That's why the space gets higher. Okay? Now you start finding mutual meaning. You build a bridge of meaning which both of you share. If they mention baseball, do you look to see where you relate to baseball? You know, I saw the movie Field of Dreams again. Because it's about baseball. Get it? If they mention jazz, you know, I've never really been educated about jazz, but I get the feeling watching them play that when they start to jam, there's some kind of magic that goes on that is much, much bigger than each of the individual players. You see what I'm saying? Okay, now, as a demo, somebody give me a topic that makes your heart sing. I don't care what. Raise your hand up all of it. Okay, Jesse? Hula hooping. Great. I remember when I was a kid and hula hoops came out, it was the biggest thing since sliced bread. I mean, every kid wanted a hula hoop. You know what I mean? And when we tried it, it was like, oh, it didn't work, it didn't work. And then when we finally got it, I can do it! Yeah! Great. See, that's a bridge. Good. Somebody else, give me another topic. Okay, Trent?
Chess.
Chess, okay? One of my all-time favorite movies that I actually play in Phase 2 of the Awakening is called Searching for Bobby Fischer. One of the best examples of parenting of any movie I could find. You know? And I love it that, you know, he's a genius at chess. But as the movie progresses, you understand that when his father doesn't use the right tone of voice, then he shuts down. When his father does what works, he soars. Good. You can always relate to something. It's a misnomer that you can't. Try to think of a topic that I can't relate to. Taxes.
Something like.
Got it. I mean, you.
Okay, here's actually.
If you're a human being, there is no topic you can't relate to.
What does my dad always talk about, Jared? And I'm like, I don't know. He always says some like way intellectual things.
Yeah.
It's like astrophysics or something.
I love you, but you lost me.
Astrophysics?
Yeah, maybe.
Like when Stephen Hawking came to Salt Lake City, I asked my psychic friend, Tom Bernard, like, how early should I get there to make sure I get a seat? He looked and he said, 3 hours.
Yeah, but I don't have that.
Oh, hold on. Hold on, I'm not done. Okay. Then when I got to the thing, we were actually a little bit later than 3 hours, and we were literally on the back row of the whole, the arts thing that's by the Salt Palace, right? That theater, okay? And I tried so hard to stay with him. I tried. And about, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes in, he was gone. And I couldn't keep up with it. You know what I mean? Okay. So now, there's lots of things, like for example, what do you love about astrophysics? Have you ever seen the show Cosmos?
Yeah.
Do you know what astrophysics is? Somebody define astrophysics for. Do you know anything about astrology, astronomy, stars, the universe?
Okay, that's all of that.
That's astrophysics.
Well, okay. Like, could you just like change the subject or something?
No. Remember, we don't give a hoot about your river like this. We want their river. We want your What, and you're a wuss?
Some days are better than others.
Hold on. Okay. But I want you to see that right now what's in the way between your dad is this silly notion that you can't relate to him. It's a notion. It's not even real. It's not even true. A notion is something that sounds logical but has no truth in it. There is no truth in the fact that she can't relate to her dad. Okay? So, I bet if I sat with you for 20, 30 minutes, we would find about a dozen things that you actually know about astrophysics. No human being in this country doesn't know a dozen things about astrophysics because they've been through school and they know about the planets and you know what I mean. There's a lot that you know about astrophysics. When he starts talking about astrophysics, okay, all you got to do is share what you enjoy about what you know about astrophysics, and that will then let him say, "Oh, she's relating to me, so he's going to go more." And he'll be excited and you'll feel stupid, and that's great.
But he'll love you all the more.
Yeah. He doesn't care how stupid she feels. He just knows that somebody cares and is interested and that he can share about what makes his heart sing. That's all he cares about. Okay, only questions, not shares about this. Questions?
Would that be the point where, like, if you don't understand something that someone's talking about, say, you know, it sounds really fascinating. Could you explain it a little bit so I can understand?
Yeah, because I don't understand what you're saying, but it really sounds interesting.
It really sounds exciting.
Yeah.
How you're saying it. But
share it with me. Tell me. Help me explain it. Help me understand.
More.
That's
so,
right.
Yeah. Because then they're like, oh, okay, you want to know, but I just need to put it a different way.
That's right. Yeah. Pretend like I'm, in third grade, but just explain it in real simple terms so I can be with you, so I can share this with you.
Yeah.
Because it really sounds fascinating. Good job. Thank you. Acknowledge.
I have this really cool friend, and 10% of our social interaction has been so deep and authentic, but then 90% I feel starts with her gossiping about somebody.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's hard for me to go with her river when I don't know if it's going to be.
That's a really great clarification. You don't ever want to go with somebody on a river that is negative.
What could I do? Because I can tell now that she feels.
You bring up the topic. You say, you know what? 10% of the time, I just enjoy the heck out of being with you. I love it when we get down meaningful conversations. But coach me how to say this. I really have trouble with gossip, and I don't enjoy it. And I'm just wondering, would it be possible for you to skip that part and go right to the good stuff? If you want to gossip with other people, that's okay, but I just don't have fun with it. Would you mind doing that? And if she says yes, if she makes a commitment, then now that she's made a commitment, every time you call her on and go, hey, listen, we're going into gossip, and remember I said I don't really enjoy that part. So you'll call her on it, and she'll go, oh, that's right. Okay, good. I want to say something about that. A lot of the people that you have in your life right now, you shouldn't have. You tolerate and you put up with. Remember that as long as you're putting up with what you're currently putting up with, you cannot rise to higher ground, where the kind of people that you really want are waiting for you.
Say that again.
Until you stop putting up with what you're currently putting up with, you cannot rise to higher ground. And on higher ground is where the people that you really want and deserve are actually waiting for you. But life is waiting for you to graduate from these bozos that you keep putting up with and tolerating.
So along those lines, what makes someone's heart sing and you're trying to follow their river is something you absolutely disagree with?
Yes. Thank you.
That's fine. It doesn't matter whether you agree or disagree. That means nothing.
The bridge is more important than your authenticity. That's my question.
The connection, the contact is better than disagreeing. Disagreeing is how you take money out of the emotional bank account. putting money into the emotional bank account is simply bridging, you know, relating to what they relate to. And then in my life, what I've noticed is that if there's enough safety built up and enough connection, then I can pause, let it sink in, and then it's okay for me to disagree in a very sweet, loving way. Yeah, I have a bit of a disagreement about that, you know. I see it differently. But I don't make a big deal out of it. I never want to get into a who's right, who's wrong thing. Otherwise, you know, the relationship is shot.
Is it someone you want to be friends with?
Well, sometimes, or sometimes not. That's a good point about that.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's your brother.
Yeah.
Right? You know, and you kind of feel like you have to do something there. You have to at least try.
Right.
So.
Well, with loved ones, friends and family, most of your friends and most of your family, you don't really want to spend that much time with. Some of them you do, some of them you relate to, some of them you have a great relationship, that's great. But remember, as Kyle LeBron said, your friend is your needs answered. Your friend is your needs answered. If you haven't read the book The Prophet by Kyle LeBron, very strong recommendation. You know, when I moved into Cebu, you couldn't, the moment you moved in, you had to read 2 books. You had to read The Prophet by Kyle LeBron, and you had to read Psycho-Cybernetics.
Sweet. Oh, wow. Oh. Yay.
So, again, I want to say, stop putting up with and tolerating the friends that you're tolerating and putting up with. Rise to higher ground, get a new level of people who support you, encourage you, and love you, right? Hang around with the people that make your heart sing. I gotta tell another story, but don't let me forget. I want to come back to it. I was not yet 19, when I moved into CEDU Foundation. Mark Wasserman, Mel Wasserman's son, had been there since he was 11. When my first group started, we were all waiting for the facilitator to walk in, and all of a sudden the 16-year-old kid started leading the group. It was Mark Wasserman, right? And in that therapy, in that situation, everything was attack and counter, which means they would pick somebody up, they would attack you over and over again until you broke down and cried, then they'd patch you up, right? Now, Mark was brilliant at it. By the time he was 16, he could pick anybody out, slice them and dice them, they break down crying, pick them up, go on to the next person, slice them and dice them, you know what I mean? He was brilliant at it. Now, I'm there about a year, and I finally have driving privileges, because there was only a few cars in Cebu. You know, you had to put your name on the list. And people who had been there less than a year couldn't even leave the property. Okay, so I now had driving privileges. And I went to Mark and I said, hey, listen, and we were buddies. And I said, hey, listen, there's a movie down the hill called Brother and Sister Moon. I really want to go see it. You want to go see that movie? He goes, yeah, that sounds like fun. Great, we'll go tonight. Okay, good, terrific. He walks away, and right then Ray comes up, and he says, hey, I overheard you talking to Mark, and I'd love to go down with you guys. And I was still too wimpy to say, well, actually, I'd rather just go with Mark, right? But as Mark was about to go in the door, he looked back and he saw my face. He saw how sour my face was. You could tell I was selling out, so he walked back, he goes, what's going on? Now, Ray gets real, you know, oh, I was just telling Gare that if it's okay, I'd really like to go with you guys. And Mark goes, nah, I don't think so, man. And Ray goes, well, listen, I won't bother you guys. I'll sit someplace else. I'll just, you know, I just want to get a ride down the mountain. I'm sorry, Ray, but no thank you. And Ray gets huffy. Well, why the hell not? Why can't I just get a ride down with you guys? Mark goes, do you really want to know? Yeah! Frankly, Ray, it's because I don't enjoy your company. And I thought about all the times in my life when I had bozos knocking on my door, didn't call ahead, and I wasted a night of my life in conversation I didn't want to have because I was too chicken shit to say, by the way, I don't want to hang with you. Now, at this stage in my life, everybody wants to be my friend. But I'm very picky about who I spend time with. You know what I mean? And that's not even an insult. You are not my needs answer. It's like when I went to Mel Wasserman and I said, I want to be your friend. He laughed, he giggled, he says, look, Eric, you're not at a level where you can be my needs answered. You're not my friend. I'm a teacher, you're a student. You know, maybe someday we can be friends, but we're not there yet. That's how I feel about most of you.
Okay, right, so many things here, but so how did that make you feel when he said that to you?
Well, it stung just a tiny bit, but I got it. I got it instantly. And when Mark did that, I got that I'm tired of giving people my time and my life who I have no sincere interest in spending time with. And I can be sweet, I can turn them down sweetly, I don't want to hurt their feelings, but I'm not going to lie and sell out and kiss their butt because I'm too chicken to actually just be true.
Is there any time that is appropriate to like set your needs aside a little and just be like, no, I'm going to put up with this because you need it?
I do that all the time. But it's because it's my choice.
Yeah, choose in.
Because I choose into it.
Yeah.
You know, when I was king of the winds, I had no self, so I had to keep learning how to say no and draw my boundaries. And today, I do a lot of things that I don't feel like doing. I don't really want to do that, but I choose into doing it because sometimes it feels good to serve or to give of myself, even though I have no interest in it. You know what I mean? But I choose to give it. That's great. That's fine, especially with family or people that I want to help and serve. Right? But it's only because I trust myself not to give in or go along with or sell out that I can be so generous. Understand?
Yeah.
Great. Okay. Thank you.
So it would basically be you choosing, if you don't spend time with them, you choosing not to cater to protecting their emotional black hole. Because if you choose into it when you don't want to, you're just doing it because you don't want to hurt them, right?
It goes back to what Mike Alga told me when he said, you know, they said, well, why don't you just say no, Gary? And I said, because I don't want to hurt their feelings. And Michael said, you don't give a hoot about their feelings. So what you care about is what they think about you after you hurt their feelings. What you're protecting is your image, your look. It's not even real. If you cared about them, you would look deep enough inside yourself to know that what serves other people is the truth. And you would be willing to look bad and to hurt their feelings in order to serve them. That's why if any of you come up to me and ask me for the honest truth about whatever, I'm not going to care about whether your feelings get hurt. I'm going to serve you. What I care about is you going to higher ground, not knocking your head against the same old walls. That's why I love working with the coaches, because I don't have to do just the basics with Movement to Mastery. I can actually do more advanced level stuff. The level of coaching and support that they get is a much different level than here. Go ahead.
How is it serving people or us or our brothers and sisters who we're supposed to see the highest in to refer to them as bozos and
Thank you for the question.
You did refer to us as bozos.
Well, I refer to you as bozos all the time. Okay?
He's not the only one.
One of my favorite moments with Bozo the Clown was when he was at the Pomona State Fair, you know, and he was doing a live show back in the whatever 60s or 50s, you know, and they go to the mic to some kid. He goes, "You got something to say to the people out there?" He goes, "Yeah. This is for Johnny," and he throws up a finger. It was a live show. Anyway, I want you to understand, Joanne, okay? I'm not actually sincere when I don't want you to think that I'm thinking of them as less than or insulting them, okay? It's like the muggles, when I talk about muggles, right? There are people who have a little more perspective or enlightenment or whatever. They're in the Hogwarts school. The muggles are the people who haven't got much skills. That's how I refer to them. Okay? So I just want you to know.
Okay, it does sound though.
I got it.
Better than.
I got it.
That's fine.
It sounds like all that negative stuff.
Yeah.
I'm just clarifying for you.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
Because I have experienced your ruthless compassion on many occasions. Many, exactly. I would say that you know, it doesn't hurt to be more compassionate rather than ruthless at times.
No, I agree, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. And I often notice that I was a little more erring on the ruthless side, and I'll come back and apologize or clean it up or whatever, because I always want to be more compassionate than ruthless.
Yeah.
Thank you. Acknowledge. Let's try to move on. So only questions. If you have a specific question about the material, then I'll answer that. Nikki.
So just going off of your friend is your needs answered, is that basically saying that's what we want in a friend, and when they don't answer those needs, that's where we choose to no longer engage in that relationship?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Meaning is experience. Remember, each event, story, description will eventually lead to a specific experience. The way you'll know you're at the bottom line of this event will describe an experience. I felt, in that moment, I felt that life was precious. And I knew I was free. Those are experiences. You understand? That's what you're looking for. Okay? Now, reflect the sweetheart message. So in this moment, what happened was, what you felt was, what you wanted was, who you truly were or are is, the acknowledgement can be stated very casually, not heavy or intense. That's one of the things I've always loved about you, is that you are so whatever. In other words, after you've gone through all first 5 steps, now you want to reflect back to them the positive intention behind their sharing. What happened in that moment? What happened in that event? Let's say one of my friends, her dad was in World War II, and he got sent to the front, and the general, one of the top generals, didn't realize that these guys were trained in snow. They had to have these heavy jackets. So right before they got called to go to the front, he said, "That's stupid, we're spending so much money on these basic troops." He goes, "Just give them regular jackets." He didn't realize. And so then they got sent out before they could get the problem solved. So their first night in battle, while they're being shot at, they're not in heavy winter coats. They're in regular army gear on the side of a mountain. You know what I mean? It was a 10th Mountain Division. Most of those guys were the guys who actually started all of the ski resorts in this country. Most of the ski resorts in this country were started by the 10th Mountain Division. Okay? Now, if I'm talking to a guy who's not a people kind of guy, he would never say, "I love you," doesn't talk about feelings, right, guys? And he happens to be opening up the topic of World War II, what it was like to be in battle. Can you imagine the kind of sweetheart message I could give to him about his courage and his willingness to go into battle, even though they didn't even have coats that they should have had? Right? And it doesn't matter who we're talking about. Everyone in your life, everything that they did had a positive intention behind it.
My mom likes to tell me all of the bad things that happen on the news, and I don't watch the news, I don't read the newspaper.
Yeah.
Vanessa, did you hear about this family that went on a trip and they all died? I'm like, Mom, I love you. And I get it. You want me to be safe. So I started repeating that back to her. We're going to be safe. I always make safe choices. And I keep repeating that back to her every story she gives
Her
me.
sweetheart message.
Because I get it. I know she loves me so much. And I'm like, I know you worry about me. We're going to be safe. I will see you when we get back. That kind of stuff. So I think it helps.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's how she talks and how she needs to be heard. That's all she really wants to hear back.
Yeah. So I kind of like cut her off.
That's her way.
Okay, I get it, Mom. Yes.
That's her way to share and be safe.
Yeah.
That's right. She wants to communicate.
Some people don't know how to tell their own story.
Yeah.
They only know how to tell someone else's story so they can get that affirmation and confirmation. Some people don't know how to share themselves.
Well, even in a story like that, Mom, do you recognize how sweet you are, that it touched you or moved you that that family got killed? You see how much you care and how much it hurts that you see something like that happening? You see how sweet you are? The point is to get her to recognize her sweetheart message.
Vanessa, I can relate to my mom tells me about TV shows. It's just a different form.
Now, this is the most important part of this whole page. Once you feed back the sweetheart message enough and you've gone through all 5, 6 steps, then you have to pause. This is vital. You have to pause. You have to put the clutch in. Because you pause and you wait until they speak next. By their next comment, you will know whether they want to go deeper or rise again to the surface of the conversation. If they're not ready to go deeper, they will go to the surface, and you want to go where they go. By respecting their safety level, you will assure that they will go deeper either next time or eventually. But if you don't go where they want to go, they will avoid you. If you trick them into going deeper, they will avoid you. You understand? The pause is everything.
Monday, Tuesday, whatever.
You have to see where they go next. Are they ready to go deeper or not? Then you repeat the cycle. If they go back to the surface, you repeat the cycle. Go back to number 4, finding mutual meaning. Okay? So,
I assume you're not able to do all this in 1 minute in the grocery store.
Say it again.
I'm assuming you're not able to go this deep in 1 minute in the grocery store.
No, but I've had many situations where I said something to a mom dealing with some kids or the grocery attendant that was like one sentence to build mutual meaning. Like I just said something, and they gave a response back. You know, even today at the dentist, the lady was like, "Oh my goodness, the assistant to the dentist was in a car accident last night," and I just said something back that built mutual meaning, and I bet you had to step in, take over. I bet you're doing stuff that you don't even know how to do, right? Right? You're a champ. You know what I mean? She lit up. Yeah. The point is that you use whatever of it you can use in the situation you're in. Right? And no shares. I want questions only.
So my question is, if there's someone you've had a lot of trouble connecting with, like, and you're trying to establish that meaning, and you're not wanting to go very deep, you just, I mean, you don't know where they're going to go, but you keep trying, or at what point do you know just to stop and not try anymore?
When it's not worth it to you.
What if, like, connecting with them means everything?
Then you keep trying.
But just, I on the safe level.
Yeah, you do this until they go deeper. If they never go deeper, you just keep doing this.
On step 4, I'm wondering if that's a prelude opportunity for them to decide if they want to go deeper, because basically they're needing to share something that makes their heart sing. So if they're not even willing to share that, is that a sign that I don't want to go deep at all?
Well, if they go deeper, it's because they're talking about stuff that you sense is deeper than the last round of things. Deeper just means we're doing the same cycle, but instead of talking about something that was not that very vulnerable or visible to me, is on another level, something more personal.
Sometimes I have trouble getting people to share anything, so I'm stuck on step 4.
Turn the page. These are ideas for how people can actually get topics going in the right direction. Like, for example, business people, salespeople know that when they walk into the owner's office and they're going to try to sell them something, the first thing they do is look around their office and see the pictures, and they have pictures of a marlin that they caught one time. They go, oh, you went deep sea fishing? You know, you always talk about whatever that person's into, whatever makes their heart sing. That's the start of the conversation. You know, Bono, I love biographies. I love watching a biography show and seeing how they all have something in common. Now, there's nobody on this planet that I know of that has more Christ-like intention to make the world work than Bono. If you look at his biography and how many things he has made happen for this planet, it is astounding. So now, he doesn't agree with George Bush's politics. But when he went in to meet George Bush, because he needed George Bush's power to actually stop the landmines that were blowing kids up, who were playing out in the fields and being blown up by the landmines, right? So what does he do before he even has a conversation with George Bush? He says, George, would you mind if we start this meeting by getting on our knees and saying a prayer? He knows that's George Bush's meaning. He has to build mutual meaning in order to get something done. Brilliant. Brilliant. Now, these are like that, okay? Do a life review. I'm telling you, if you have never gone to your parents and said, hey, Mom and Dad, someday I would like our great-grandchildren to know about you and your life, and I would like to sit down with you and just record your life. You know, from the beginning to the, till now. You know, I'd like to know about your dreams, your heartaches, you know, the challenges you came, you know. I mean, I'm so glad that my brother did that with my mom and dad, because they're both gone now, and we have it on CDs. You know, wouldn't it be great when Derek wants to share with his grandchildren about his ancestors? Right? And I'm telling you, if you do that, they will start to open up. Items of meaning in their environment. Like I said, pictures, stuff on the mantle. That's an interesting sculpture. What's behind that sculpture? Like, what made you want that one? Get them talking. Be yourself, not your defense. You're likely to avoid turning them off if you keep your intent on serving them. Discover what is comfortable for them. Don't be worried about being heard. Seek first to understand, then to be understood. Discover their passions. Their children are always number one. Okay? Photos. Life events or memories. Time frames. Tell me what it was like when you were a child. Tell me what it was like when you were in high school. You know what I mean? people that they knew, special things, the guitar, the car, the skis, whatever. Philosophy, their attitude. Sometimes politics and religion are too touchy. Unless you can hear whatever their politics or religion is and not get triggered or defensive or whatever. No matter what they discuss, listen to the projection and listen knowing that everything they discuss is talking about themselves. Only use this information to reflect back to them how good and sweet they are to care so much. Always reflect back to them the sweetheart message. Even though you felt like you let them down, can you see how much you wouldn't have felt bad if you didn't care so much for them and wanted their respect so much?
What's your favorite shirt? Don't ask me to change it.
Ask questions which lead to meaningful dialogue. What were some of the great lessons you felt like you learned throughout your lifetime or whatever? Part of the human spirit. If they're willing to actually, some people aren't, but some people are willing to actually play the game. Like when I was single and I would be, meeting a new person that I was interested in getting to know, I knew that the fastest way I could get to know somebody was by saying, hey, I've got a great game that we can play through it, open to it. Let's pick out our favorite book or movie or hero or whatever, and just be that thing instead of being ourselves, and describe ourselves as that movie or book or whatever, and then what our message is to the world. And every time they would do it with me, and I'd get to know their heart and soul. Okay, get a partner and share with your partner any type of feelings about what I've been sharing with you. Go.
This is all we have for phase 2. It's just the picture that's what I have. But you still got older, right? We got
Okay, wrap it up.
But anyways, yeah, let's
Hey girl, what are you doing, dear? Hey dear, just busy. So this is
Commissioners, before I give you a break.
Yeah, when do we transport?
Jeremy, oh yeah, I want to get back to your sheriff.
Yeah, I just wanted to share about what Jessica said, because what I found when I finished the awakening, trying to connect with people, and like you want to ask them not to gossip, a better way to put it is like, I found this because if I was trying to say, hey, can you not do that? I would say, you know, I'm working on not gossiping. Can you help me do that? And then they'll be like, oh, I'm helping you. You're not trying to ask me what to do.
Yeah. That's a great suggestion. Way to go. Thank you.
Something to add to along those lines, Gary, is I've always tried to take the stance too. If somebody comes up to me and starts saying negative things about another person, I'll try to counteract it with something positive about that person. So you can do it a little indirectly, or you can be very direct.
Yeah.
That's
great. Thank you, acknowledging. Okay, question?
It is a question, but I can't figure out how to ask the question.
Well, then come back to me later then. Well, ask me, no comments, ask me on this break. If you're in the awakening, you need to make sure you come back from the break. Okay, like the only people who should leave on the break are the people who are guests, but since we don't have any guests who haven't been through the workshops, you can all come back from the break, okay? And when we get back from the break, besides some announcements about the awakening and all that stuff, then we'll do the pinnacle of presentations processes to anchor that in. Okay? Hold on. Go ahead.
Could I get my list and have people come visit me on the break?
Say it again.
What? I have a list of people I need stuff from.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Well, Steve's not here, but Nikki, Jeff Jacobson. Oh, is Jeff here?
No.
Oh, just Nikki then. Okay. Thank you. That's all.
Just Nikki then. This synchronicity. Okay, take a break. Jeremy, will you put some music on?
Can you like get a
Yeah, hold on one sec. Yeah, I'm coming. No.
Hey, I don't know if Ennis put the song in the library called Have It On.
Have It On?
But if we can find it, I'd love to put it
Just during the break or when you're...
during the break. And if it's a video, then we should put a video.
Jason Mraz?
Yeah.
You put it in, huh? Yeah, it's here.
It's not a video, huh?
Just, I can look and see if it's in the video section. I saw a thing that said contract. Actually, it was on that chair by Gary's office. You'll have to ask him.
show me what I'm up to.
Aren't you making a formula?
Motivational self-development, spiritual, activewear.
That's awesome.
For ladies too.
Are you doing tanks?
Tanks, sports bras, leggings, hats.
Nice.
Yeah.
You and Sonia are both on your gear game, getting out some cool products.
Yeah, I mean she's doing something completely different.
Well, it's spiritual and yours is more like empowerment.
Yeah.
It's with a positive.
Yeah, so we gotta have you supported when you work out.
Yeah.
You gotta work out in greatness, in champion wear, in hero wear.
What's
looking around the gym and no one's wearing anything that has positive messages.
It's like the struggle is real, or like doing cardio for pizza.
Stupid shit. So, anyways.
Cool. What's your brand?
BPG Activewear. My name is Brian Patrick Coffee, BPG Activewear.
Cool. So I want to start a brand potentially that's, I don't even know if it's taken yet, but what my mind told me, new desk.
What?
New desk?
No.
Clean desk.
Yeah, probably.
So I want to make a brand called Positivity, T-E-E. Make t-shirts with positive affirmations on them.
Nice. So we're on the same page. I'm not. Hopefully Jeremy is, unless you want to, since you're a go-getter.
Okay, I just want to know how much time I have left, because I have to go outside.
10 minutes. So you want to do motivational or more affirmations
Positivity, positive messages.
shirts, specifically for activewear or just general?
I haven't thought about that, but maybe something that's in the lines of like activewear, casual, like you can still kind of dress it up, but it's still casual. Kind of more of like the feminine, spiritual side.
Yeah, cool, nice.
Yeah.
Well, you might want to start off with Printful. That's the company we're using.
With what?
Printful. It's yeah.
Cool.
It's cool. It's fun.
How much money would you have to invest to create products first?
Money.
Really? Oh my god, why don't I brand myself right now? 15 minutes. Country? Isn't it the country?
You're on time? Yeah. Okay, good.
We're doing 15, right? Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
We got about 10
Gary, she said she sent it to you on your Outlook. Do you want to
Find it. Deal with that on my
I did too, and that's why I'm only on the phone again. Yeah.
it again.
The meaning is experience, so when they start.
The what is
saying
experience?
Meaning is experience.
Meaning is experience.
Yeah, so it is kind of like a story that they have these
In other words, if they stay on the surface, it will mostly be about circumstances or events, but they won't talk about experience. If they ever go to experience, that means they're willing to go deeper.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Acknowledge. Now, I want you to know that the last couple of years, Ron McMillan, who is now, you know, a $30,000 a day guy, has been kind enough to come and do our fundraiser for the people trying to raise money for the Awakening. And he came this last May, and he spent some really powerful time talking about some of the miraculous experiences that his cousin had gone through when he died and came back, and things that they told him that he couldn't fathom how that could possibly happen, and then of course they happened, right? So Tricia was sweet enough and kind enough to buy a bunch of books that she gave to people who were there and a little bit to mastery. So I just want you to know if there's anybody here, there are a few more books here. So if there's anybody here that hasn't had a book, I want to make sure and pass this down so that you can take one, so that Trish's gift is honored. Okay?
Thank you, Trish.
Yeah, the stories in that book are absolutely astounding. Okay, now, is there anybody that has not yet signed up for Spirit on this thing who's planning on going? I just want to check with you and see. Is there anybody who's in this room who did sign this but is planning on going? Okay. I want to remind those people who are signed up in Spirit. Matter of fact, raise your hand so I know who I'm talking to. Okay, if you're planning on going to Spirit, remember that Friday is, you didn't sign up yet?
I don't know if I did or not.
Okay. Friday is not from noon to 8 like a lot of the other workshops. Friday is all day long, 9:30 a.m. to like, I can't remember how late at night. Both Friday is Connected Breath after, you know, and Saturday is the Ropes Course and Firewalk. So both those days are very long days. You want to arrange your babysitting and all that stuff to make sure that you have attended. Okay? If anybody here has not yet signed up, but they are open to considering it, please allow me to facilitate you to come to a true choice. When I enroll people, I don't twist their arm. I just help them see if it's really true for them or not. Okay? And if you ask anybody who did it last year, matter of fact, just quickly stand up and sit down so they can see who to talk to. Okay? Those people who did it last year will basically tell you it is not something you want to miss. Do not miss it. Okay? Now, is there anybody here who has not yet signed up for Lava, who is not on this sheet, who's planning on going to Lava? Okay? So, pass it down. Let people put their names somewhere. And remember, with both these sign-up sheets, that doesn't mean you're registered. That just means you intend on going. Okay? So you have to register on our website to get the pre-course packet so we know you're actually here. Okay? Now, do yourself a favor, like I said in Pinnacle, do not wait till the last minute to register. Matter of fact, you definitely don't want to do that for Lava. By the way, unless we get enough people to go through Lava to make the expense, we're going to be doing it here locally. So if you really want to go to Lava, like people do every year, you want to help me get enough people signed up that we can actually make it happen in Lava.
How many would you need?
15.
How many others?
Right now it's like 7 or 8. Now the other day when I came back from the Awakening and we were doing the first meeting here, I asked how many people were thinking about doing it, and it was at least 15 people's hands went up. So we just got to check when we're at this next Awakening to see if people are really planning on doing it. Okay? Now, Shelley's going to be doing a peer processing on September 8th. Now, I want you to know, if you did not do that this year for your Movement to Mastery, you definitely want to take advantage of that. Because that is an advanced level of learning how to move your emotional energy. I'm sorry that I didn't require it early in the year because it really affected your Movement to Mastery program. That's a skill you don't want to move on without. Okay? Ask anybody who was there, they'll rave about it. Okay? Now, if your next year's Movement to Mastery, I suggest doing this one. September 8th. Okay? And she's also going to do a breath on October 12th. You want to put both those dates in your calendar, and I'm going to pass this around so that people can take one. Okay? That has the dates and stuff on it.
Did you say October 12th?
Yes. I cannot emphasize enough, especially if you're moving to Mastery next year, how to move your emotional energy is absolutely fundamental. It is not something that you should consider optional. It's absolutely fundamental. Okay?
Is this different? Is this the September 30th and
Wait a minute, hers says September 3rd?
Yes. Yes.
I remember saying the 8th.
Brian, we need to text Lori and tell her that on our calendar we have peer processing at September 8th. We need to find out whether it's September 3rd or September 8th because people are getting two different stories.
The 3rd is a Monday.
Yeah, 3rd is Labor Day. That's probably why we moved it. So just a reminder that 3rd is Labor Day, and it would work better to have it on the 8th.
The calendar's marked off on the 8th.
I think originally we had it on the 3rd, and then we realized it was the wrong date, so we moved it. She's probably forgetting that we moved it. If there is anybody signed up in next year's Awakening, oh, do me a favor. If you're signed up in next year's Awakening, would you raise your hand? Okay. Trent and Shelley, and I have both of you signed up as guests for Phase 2, right? If any of you know any of the people who've already signed up for next year's Awakening, matter of fact, Jesse, you know, and you've got those contracts handy to you, I want to make sure and get everyone who signed up for next year's Awakening an email and a text saying, you have first option to be our guest at this year's Awakening Phase 2, okay? Saturday is first choice, but once it gets filled up, it goes to Thursday.
Possibility to do both or just one?
It depends on how many people sign up. Usually not, but we'll see.
Yeah, I'm still on Saturday, so.
Yeah. I bet you can. For the rest of you, if you have friends that you know absolutely are interested in the Awakening, I don't want people who are like checking it out or looking at it. You know what I mean? I want people who are interested in the Awakening. Then if the Awakening people next year don't fill up those spaces, I'll be open to that. Just have them email me and I can put them on a list. Okay. Raise your hand if you're in this year's Phase 2 Awakening as participants. Great. Okay. If you did last year's Awakening, I want to once again take one share per process to remind these guys how amazing Phase 2 is, okay? So, Brian, Jeremy, Michelle, all the people who were in last year's Awakening, I'm going to go through the processes and I'll take one share per process, okay? So, Thursday is 2 levels of awe in one day. Parent's Essence and Connected Breath. Who wants to share about Parent's Essence? Who remembers how powerful that particular process is? Michelle?
I recognize that I have no idea who my parents are. That when I was able to do that process, I realized that what I was dealing with them was something my perception made up for me to believe, and it wasn't even a person. So my whole relationship with my parents shifted once I realized, let them tell me who they are. Don't believe what I think they are.
Yeah, beautiful. Acknowledged. The thing I personally love about that process is that it's not just about you and it's not just about your parents, even though both of you will benefit tremendously, whether they're dead or alive. It's about every generation back through time and every generation forward. You are the chain breaker. That's an incredible privilege and honor for you.
Oh yeah.
Okay, who wants to share about connected breath?
You like it, buddy.
Joe?
Connected breath was actually one of my favorite processes. Yeah, it really is an opportunity to get a healing and release that is fairly comparable to a breakthrough, and so I'm really glad when I did it that I just go completely in, and it was very rewarding. And I usually pick up anytime that Lori does connected breath, I usually go. She is a master, and it's just phenomenal. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
My favorite part of connected breath is all the mystical, spiritual, extraordinary stories that come out of it. When people are sharing after that process is over, they're all like, you know. Okay, anybody want to share about forgiveness?
I do the forgiveness process with Jeremy. I don't know if that's recommended for everyone. That's couples wise, but I'm glad we did. And after some practicing with Laura, after that, our relationship really took a new heights. That is everything it
Did you have your hand up, Jeremy?
No, I was going to, yeah.
Okay, good. There was an arm on. Okay, who wants to share about the dream process? The one about higher purpose?
Like maybe my favorite part of the whole awakening, really, and it just changes your life so much to give you perspective on give you perspective about everything. Like, what is it? What am I trying to do? Why am I here? What is this all about? And just that whole thing of getting that kind of clarity was life-changing.
Yeah, thank you. My favorite part of that process is the visualization. And we send this much love and light to different categories of people, and the whole room yells, yes! Okay, who wants to share about the farewell process in the middle of the night?
In the middle of the night.
Ari.
I really found this process profound, and I think the coolest thing for me was it kind of helped me learn to live without regrets. Because there's a lot of things, you know, that I love yous that I withheld, like nice things, you know what I mean, like those kind of things. And it makes you really appreciate the people in your life and see that really the things that matter the most are those relationships, and the most beautiful moments are the ones where you just feel love for the people that you're around. And it kind of helps you refocus on the most important things.
And I think that has something to do with why, was it 2 or 3 members you had in your family that was phase 1 of the relationship? That's right.
2 of them will be back.
Yeah. Good, acknowledge. Okay, and the homecoming. Who wants to share about the homecoming?
Okay.
Jeremy?
That was really...
I always use them. It's okay.
do not forget or invite the people you think you shouldn't invite, okay? People you think, oh, they might not get much out of it, but if someone's calling you to invite someone, do it. Vanessa invited my ex-wife, who we never got along with. She came and was acknowledging people, and it shifted our whole relationship, how we treat each other with our kids, things like that, and I regret not inviting my parents. I didn't invite them because I wasn't sure yet. Maybe we can get them here this year. So, but dude, I can't tell you how big of a deal the homecoming is. Not only for you guys, but for your family. So, yeah.
If you look at the pre-course packet, you have 3 letters that you can make copies of and send to as many people as you want. It's Sunday, I think it's at 2 o'clock or something. Okay?
It's
now,
a Sunday?
Yeah. And here in the office, okay?
Oh.
And I'm glad that Jeremy said regret, because I can't tell you how many hundreds of people have come to me after the homecoming was over and said, I just didn't think they would be interested, or that they would come, or they're in another state, or whatever it is. And I wish to God I would have not done that, because now I regret it. Okay? I'm telling, I've had people come from other countries, halfway around the world. I've had people come from out of state. I've had people, who absolutely have a horrible relationship with their ex, and they end up cleaning it up right in front of everybody. You know what I mean? Yeah. Miracle after miracle after miracle. So, send out too many letters, not enough. Yeah, ask it 100%. That way, if you feel like you did everything you could, and they don't show up, you won't regret it.
Yep.
You'll be complete, you'll be resolved. Okay, Leslie?
Other than seeing the transformation in Kevin and Jeremy, being at a friend's homecoming years ago, and being in the space, I don't recall.
Trisha?
I don't recall being in many other spaces where I felt so moved and so much love other than the homecoming. It was Christie's. Sorry, a mutual friend of mine, and it was so beautiful. So that was the other reason I chose him to do all this work. Was wanting to be a part of that.
So is there homework we need to be doing before phase 2?
I will give you a strong recommendation, okay? If you are in the awakening, go through your packet again. Review your pre-course packet, because it works you on a subconscious level. Be with your essence culture again, be with the music again, right? Just get really up to speed about your pre-course packet. I promise you there will be things that you're not conscious of right now. Okay?
Pre-course to phase 1?
There's only one pre-course packet. It's
Okay.
the same for phase 1 and phase 2.
Okay.
Okay?
What if you have our essence filter?
What?
If you have our essence filter, if you have our essence filter, they're here. They're just somewhere over there.
I assume that if they took them, they want to keep them. So, but you can look at them here at the end of the night if you want to, or, be with your memory of it. Okay. I want to remind the people who are in the source position that you have the option of actually doing those processes, like connected breath, kind of process, as long as you replace yourself for that shift while you're in a source position. Does that make sense? Like if you want to go through the death process again, whatever. That's one of the benefits of being on a source position. Okay. If you're in the awakening, I want to remind you that August 25th is Gateway to Awakening Part 2. It's from noon to 5:30. And that one does not have guests. It's only for the people in the awakening. Does that make sense? And it's required, and you've already committed to it, so don't call me up with a bunch of okay. Now, if you were in a small group doing Pinnacle of presentations, I want you to go back to your small group. And if you're not in Pinnacle of presentations, if one of the groups has less than 4 people, then you can join that particular group.
So the whole time notifications say place to be announced, but it's here? Okay.
Yeah, we looked at doing it in Idaho, but it can be complicated.
Very good.
I need a timekeeper.
How much? How much time?
About 7.
Okay.
Let me know when it's 7.
Okay.
So we only have 3. You said that you would see all the time.
Okay. They need 2 people here. Huh?
We would need 1, please.
We need 1.
1.
No, we need 1.
We need 1. Yeah.
Okay, you both can do this one. There's only 2 people here. Okay. Let me remind you how it's going to go. Okay? One at a time. One of you will stand up. You will turn your back to the group. Okay? Then you will turn back around to the group, and you will make anywhere between a 1-minute and 3-minute presentation. I suggest shorter than longer. Okay? And then you will do your prelude. Okay? Prelude. Then you will do 3 sentences of your speech, and your group will see if you can hit the mark. If not, the group will then show you again how to hit the mark. Okay? I'm going to need a coach over in this group. Okay? Okay? Then you're going to do it in your head and see if you can do 3 sentences just as powerful as you did after your prelude. You got it? And you're only going to have about 7 minutes each to do all that, so you got to be laser-like. Laser. First person, stand up. You're ready to go.
Pow, 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 Rangers!
Everybody ready? Okay. Actually, you know what? I just realized with so little time left, I'm going to limit your presentation to 1 minute tops. Ready? Go.
My dad is my hero! Here he is at 79 climbing Mount Olympus! He taught me to have integrity and to be honest with my words!
You got the right group, and I'm going to write down to the business secretary. It's just a few words.
Oh wait, no, wait, my third?
My hero!
everyone else sick. I don't want to bust up too sexy.
And so, no shame. Yeah, get one, your attorney, stuff online, you're like, oh, my dad is my hero! My parents are 79, climbing Mount Olympus. My dad taught me integrity. He taught me to think logically.
Somebody stop me! We are here to see connect share. We have a gift to help all the tools, all of that is a power. You already have it.
So excited, you guys, to start your business and change the world. So don't forget your ABCs.
I'm killing it right now.
Yes. For me personally, and do your contract.
One more, what do you get?
Start immediately so you can start changing the world with your fantastic idea.
Very pleasant energy.
Yes. And love to all the tools you already have it.
Explosion.
Try turning it off and turning it back on again?
The computer?
Yeah.
Well, then we'll lose the video.
Changing the world.
Well, if it's frozen, then we'll not.
Well, the video is done, but the music program is frozen.
Then turn it off, turn it on again, see if it will work, and put on the video again if it works.